He originally thought that his cultivation level was enough to kill the opponent. However, the palm strike just now was extremely bizarre, causing the White Tiger Elder's heart to tremble. He faintly realized that he couldn't fully see through Wang Lin's true power. Moreover, with Wang Lin breaking the immortal venerable seal, the White Tiger Elder felt both disbelief and caution. But having cultivated for so many years, he would never retreat simply because of Wang Lin's words, and his proud dignity would never allow him to step back. To him, as an immortal, no matter how strong Wang Lin appeared, he was merely a lower realm ant. The calmer Wang Lin remained, the more pressure the White Tiger Elder felt, and the more rage surged within him. He was angry not only at Wang Lin, but also at himself for feeling fear. He couldn't imagine that he, the White Tiger Elder, would fear a mere lower realm ant. With a low growl, the White Tiger Elder's eyes immediately gleamed with white light, exuding an overbearing aura. This aura stemmed from the cultivation method and divine powers of the White Tiger, powers belonging to the ominous star White Tiger. With this growl, the White Tiger Elder took a step forward, charging toward Wang Lin. He raised his right hand, forming a seal and pointing to the sky, before quickly bringing it down with a roar. What will you do if forced? If you can withstand my 3 divine moves, then you may be worthy of further discussion. His voice boomed like thunder, reverberating across the ancient immortal domain, echoing in all directions, creating a massive rumbling sound. It felt as though it wasn't just the elder roaring, but countless voices crying out together. The roar shook the heavens, sending tremors through the sky and creating wave-like ripples in the air. The whole sky appeared to be torn by countless irregular cracks. The ground rumbled, and the area around Wang Lin trembled violently, with fierce winds howling, causing the earth to appear as if it was crumbling. The ground seemed to soften and ripple like waves, cracks spreading endlessly. From a distance, it looked as though the earth had been torn with deep scars, a shocking sight. The tiger's roar completely drowned out all other sounds, and as the echoes intertwined, it formed a force powerful enough to shatter both the mind and body of any cultivator. The earth collapsed under the fissures, and the sky seemed to collapse, twisting into illusory fragments. Fierce winds swept across, covering everything in darkness. All that remained was the increasingly loud and furious roar of the White Tiger. Wang Lin's ears rang as he stood amidst the collapsing sky and the crumbling earth, completely surrounded by the roar of the White Tiger. The winds rushed past him, whipping his hair and clothes as if to tear his body apart. Were it not for his ancient god physique, even with his cultivation at the mid-ethereal stage, his body would have been shattered under this tremendous roar, leaving his essence spirit severely injured. This roar carried a crushing pressure, equal to that of the heavens themselves, and in Wang Lin's view, the White Tiger's might had transcended all known limits, reaching a level where it could devour all living things. Here, in the core of the ancient immortal domain, if this roar had been unleashed in the inner or outer realms, the starry skies themselves would have been shaken, countless cultivation stars would have shattered, and many cultivators would have perished under its might. Wang Lin's body did not retreat an inch as the winds and roars surrounded him. His expression remained calm as he closed his eyes. Once he closed his eyes, the entire world seemed illusory. This illusion, born from his heart, was not reality. However, Wang Lin had realized the origin of truth and falsehood. He believed it to be false, so his body, his essence spirit, his thoughts, and everything about him perceived the external world as fake. At the moment he closed his eyes, his hair, which had been wildly blown by the winds, mysteriously settled and fell softly on his shoulders. His clothes, which had previously been violently blown, now mysteriously smoothed down, no longer affected by the winds. It seemed as though no wind existed in front of him. But in reality, the howling of the wind was much stronger than before, and the sound of the tiger's roar was several times more intense than it had been just moments ago. The collapse of the earth expanded, the sky's disintegration spread, but Wang Lin's body remained unmoving. The calmness in his expression stood out sharply amidst the roaring wind and tiger's growl, utterly out of place with the chaos of heaven and earth. The White Tiger Elder growled as he stepped forward. His figure flickered like lightning, charging directly at Wang Lin. In an instant, he was right before Wang Lin, raising his right hand. A flash of golden light quickly burst forth, condensing into a golden, heaven-splitting blade in the White Tiger Elder's hand. This blade was nearly 10 feet long. Gripping it in his hand, the White Tiger Elder swung it toward Wang Lin's crown, letting out a roar as he aimed a vicious slash at him. With this slash, the tiger's roar grew even fiercer, the wind and clouds shifted, and an endless rumble filled the air. The blade came from the sky, landing directly on Wang Lin's crown. There was no resistance. The blade pierced straight through Wang Lin's head, severing his body instantly. With a sharp sound, the heaven-splitting blade passed through Wang Lin's body, but there was no wound on his body. It was as if the blade only cut through an illusion. True and false origin. This is the true and false origin. Damn it. The Immortal Venerable's 7 heavenly decrees have sealed the birth of the false origin. If not for the Immortal Venerable being gravely injured back then, and forced to pull out the 7 decrees, this person would never have had the chance to comprehend the void origin. The White Tiger Elder's eyes revealed shock, but his unwillingness was apparent. He swung the heaven-splitting blade hundreds, even thousands of times in an instant. The sharp, whistling sound cut through the air, and in the flashes of the blade's light, Wang Lin's figure seemed to become completely illusory. No matter how many times the blade slashed through him, his expression didn't change in the slightest. Have you slashed enough? When the heaven-splitting blade swept past for the final time, Wang Lin opened his eyes and calmly spoke. The moment the words left his mouth, the elder immediately retreated, but just as he stepped back, Wang Lin moved forward, his figure flashing until he appeared right in front of the elder. Raising his right hand, his fingers formed a palm, and he gently slapped the elder's chest. The slap seemed light, almost harmless, but the moment it landed, the White Tiger Elder's face drastically changed. A sense of life and death danger instantly filled his mind. This seemingly gentle slap brought a terrifying shock. This is... He tried to retreat, but it was too late. As Wang Lin's palm struck, his cold eyes flashed, and his fingers dug inward, gripping tightly before pulling outward. With a thunderous boom, the elder spat blood, his body like a kite with a broken string, rapidly retreating. But from within the elder's body, a white light was forcibly extracted and gathered into Wang Lin's palm. Causality. This is the origin of causality. You actually have 2 void origins. Wang Lin coldly stared at the retreating White Tiger Elder. The sound of the tiger's roar still lingered in his ears. With a cold snort, Wang Lin did not pursue. Instead, he crushed the white light in his palm, and the moment he did so, the White Tiger Elder trembled once more, spitting blood as he retreated even faster. You welcomed me with a tiger's roar, so I shall return the favor. Wang Lin's eyes flashed as he slapped his brow, causing the ancient god star mark on his forehead to flicker. His left and right eyes both glowed with star-like marks, and at that moment, an ancient head emerged from behind him. Surrounding the ancient head were the illusory figures of the 3 ancient clans, occupying all of the space behind Wang Lin. In that instant, Wang Lin opened his mouth and let out a low growl. As his growl echoed, the ancient head behind him also opened its mouth and roared, while the illusory figures of the 3 ancient clans, ancient gods, ancient demons, and ancient fiends, also roared together, their voices reverberating forward. The combined roars drowned out the tiger's growl, creating an unimaginable sonic wave that surged forward with a mighty force. The White Tiger Elder was pierced by the roar, stumbling in midair, his face pale. He quickly formed hand seals, and at that moment, the huge white tiger behind him flickered and merged with him in an instant. From a distance, all that could be seen was the massive white tiger, roaring as it retreated under the wrath of the ancient head and the 3 ancient clans. Under the roar, the sonic wave surged forward, surpassing Wang Lin's body and approaching the massive white tiger. With the blast of sonic force, the white tiger's body instantly twisted, showing signs of imminent collapse, yet it continued to hold on. However, its retreat became noticeably more frantic. Despite its supreme majesty, this ferocious tiger still fell short when compared to Wang Lin. As Wang Lin advanced, he suddenly raised his right hand and pointed forward. At that very moment, the Tao ancient head behind him let out a thunderous roar, surged through his body, and lunged at the white tiger with a ferocious intent to devour. From afar, the scene was enough to shake the soul. The collapsing sky seemed to be split in two. On one side was the colossal Tao ancient head, and on the other, the massive, earth-shattering white tiger. These two mighty forces, one advancing and the other retreating, rapidly closed the distance between them. In the blink of an eye, the Tao ancient head was upon the white tiger, its mouth wide open in a deafening roar as it moved to devour. A booming explosion erupted as the two forces collided, shaking the entire ancient immortal domain. The ground cracked and shattered on a massive scale, and even many of the statues of the three ancient clans behind the four central statues exploded outright. The shockwave rippled outward, threatening to annihilate the entire ancient immortal domain. Under this devastating force, the massive white tiger's body finally collapsed, turning into countless specks of white light that scattered in all directions. From within its disintegrating form, the white-haired elder spewed a mouthful of blood. His body reeled and was flung backward, slamming with a loud crash into the towering statue he had been using for healing. Cracking sounds followed. The statue, impacted by the elder's body, was riddled with countless fractures spreading throughout its surface, as if it could crumble at any moment. Likewise, Wang Lin was pushed back by the shockwave. His face turned slightly pale, yet the cold glint in his eyes only grew more intense in his calm. This was Wang Lin's fiercest battle without using the Li Guang Bao. He wasn't fighting a mere cultivator or an outer realm powerhouse, but one of the four war generals of the immortal venerable from ancient times, the White Tiger General. The White Tiger General possessed an immensely long lifespan. He belonged neither to the inner nor the outer realm, but hailed from the mysterious immortal firmament continent. He was an immortal, a true immortal. Immortal power flowed within his bloodline, and in terms of cultivation tier, he far surpassed Wang Lin. If not for the grave injuries he had suffered long ago, injuries still not fully healed, Wang Lin's fight against him would have been even more difficult. But in a battle of life and death, parity means nothing. Life is life, death is death. As Wang Lin was pushed back, his Tao ancient head and the phantoms of the three ancient clans also retreated from the impact with the white tiger. The phantoms shattered completely, leaving only the Tao ancient head remaining high in the sky, slightly fading. Wang Lin's current cultivation was at the mid-ethereal stage, but when combined with his Tao ancient physique and divine arts, he was strong enough to face early profound void stage cultivators. Even if his opponent surpassed that level, Wang Lin had the Li Guang Bao, and once that bao was drawn, a single arrow could shake the heavens. The white tiger elder's body was now embedded in the healing statue, his expression twisted, his eyes filled with dread. But that fear was not enough to make him retreat. He was the White Tiger General, a native of the immortal firmament continent, one of the four war generals under the command of the Rainbow Immortal Venerable. He had fought countless battles, including surviving the upheaval at the cave mansion years ago. He had his pride, his unyielding dignity. He could not allow a mere lower realm ant cultivator to defeat him. Even if that ant instilled deep fear within him, he forcibly suppressed it. The path of the Western White Tiger, power of the seven celestial mansions, metal of all creation's flora, my White Tiger legacy, now condense into the supreme art of my clan. Seal and annihilate this man. Art of riding the tiger with no retreat. With a deafening roar, the White Tiger Elder pressed his hands against the statue beside him. With a thunderous blast, he shot out of the cratered statue, his arms flailing and forming seals. His white hair flew wildly, and his eyes blazed with overwhelming ferocity. Then, he suddenly pointed both hands toward Wang Lin. From that point, the dispersed white light, the remnants of the earlier white tiger, instantly reappeared. Centered on Wang Lin, the light surged inward at indescribable speed. In an instant, beneath Wang Lin's feet, the infinite white light once again condensed into the colossal, sky-shaking white tiger. From a distance, it looked as if Wang Lin were standing atop the beast. A suffocating pressure erupted from the white tiger, instantly sealing the sky around Wang Lin. The pressure kept condensing until it formed a massive seal. That seal bore down entirely on Wang Lin. Though invisible, he could feel it clearly. His expression grew grim. The pressure of the seal locked down the surrounding world, making his body feel submerged in a mire, so heavy that even breathing became difficult. The sound of banging echoed from Wang Lin's body. The power of the seal was entirely emanating from the white tiger beneath him, preventing him from leaving his body. As time passed, the pressure from the seal became increasingly intense, and it felt as though invisible hands were pressing down on Wang Lin's body, pushing him closer to the white tiger beneath him. His body was completely positioned on top of the white tiger, unable to move a single inch. The white tiger roared, its fur standing on end. From a distance, it looked like countless white plants swaying in the wind. Its body coiled high in the sky, emitting dazzling white light. Within its form, countless runes flashed, shimmering like marks. These runes, appearing in vast numbers, transformed the massive white tiger into a living seal. As more and more runes appeared within the white tiger's body, it rapidly changed, turning into a gigantic white vortex. In this vortex, endless runes swirled around. The roar of a tiger could be heard, shaking the heavens. The vortex spun violently, and up close it looked like a whirlpool. However, from a distance, if one focused carefully, it became clear that it wasn't just a whirlpool. It was the massive white tiger running in circular motions beneath Wang Lin, so fast that it created this large vortex. The pull of the vortex was terrifying, and combined with the seal's power, Wang Lin found it impossible to break free. It was as if he were a mere mortal on the back of a tiger, unable to get off, completely trapped by the beast. This was the divine art of the white tiger general, riding the tiger with no retreat. This technique was both a divine ability and a seal. The white tiger's spirit carry the soul of this man and suppress him beneath the cave mansion, beneath the 7 heavenly peaks of the immortal firmament continent. The white tiger elder roared with a fierce expression, swinging his arms as his voice boomed through the air. As his voice echoed, a terrifying tiger roar erupted from the vortex. A massive tiger, about 10 yards in size, shot out from the center of the whirlpool. This white tiger was the spirit of the white tiger, similar to a cultivator's essence spirit. As it burst from the vortex, its body twisted and elongated, yet its majesty grew even stronger. Upon emerging, the white tiger's spirit roared and charged directly towards Wang Lin. Instead of devouring him, it coiled around his body like a snake, its mouth open, aiming for Wang Lin's crown of the head. With its body, it sought to return to the vortex beneath. If it succeeded in dragging him back, Wang Lin would be trapped at the very bottom of the cave mansion's inner and outer realms, suppressed to death. This divine art of the white tiger elder was unlike anything Wang Lin had ever seen in his life. It didn't belong to this world, but came from the immortal firmament continent. Wang Lin's expression darkened as the white tiger's spirit coiled around him. At the moment when the tiger's mouth was about to consume him, he lifted his left hand and pressed it directly into the tiger's mouth, riding the tiger with no retreat. Today, I shall not leave this tiger's back. Since you choose to suppress me, let us see if it is the white tiger that suppresses me, or if I shall intimidate it. A murderous intent flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. He didn't use any divine abilities, but closed his eyes. When he opened them again, his entire aura had changed. A scholar's imposing presence erupted from his body, like that of a grand scholar of the current era. At this moment, he was no longer a cultivator. He was a scholar. He had comprehended the ways of the heavens, understood that everything here was just a cave mansion, and grasped the truths of all things. Under this scholar's aura, Wang Lin was indifferent to everything. His gaze, calm yet full of righteousness, emanated an overwhelming force. He turned his head to look at the white tiger's spirit coiled around him, his left hand pressing on the tiger's mouth. His eyes locked onto it, and the scholar's righteous aura immediately pressured the spirit. At this moment, the white tiger spirit was no longer seen as a divine beast or a spiritual ability, but rather as an ordinary tiger. "Dare you devour me?" Wang Lin spoke slowly. His eyes suddenly widened, staring at the white tiger spirit. Though his expression showed no anger, a sense of dignity and authority radiated from him. The righteous energy from within his body was not afraid of the heavens. How could it fear a mere tiger? The white tiger's spirit trembled, its eyes showing a hint of fear. It was filled with inexplicable thoughts, as if it could see endless cycles of reincarnation and cause and effect. It saw the ancestors of its white tiger spirit clan kneeling before the sky when the immortal firmament continent was first created. It didn't know why such thoughts arose, but under the influence of this energy, it felt a deep, soul-shaking fear. As Wang Lin's words echoed, it was as if he became one with the heavens, exerting pressure on the white tiger spirit. This pressure contained Wang Lin's life's insights, the essence of his three sources of the void, and his supreme power. The white tiger's spirit whined, and in the disbelief of the white tiger elder, it released Wang Lin's body and retreated a few steps, lowering its head towards Wang Lin. The white tiger, with a mournful whine, lunged forward and left beneath Wang Lin's body. In the distant sky, it glanced back at Wang Lin, completely ignoring the white-haired elder. With a shake of its body, it transformed back into a boundless white light that illuminated the heavens and earth, vanishing within the ancient immortal domain. This is impossible. The white-haired elder's face turned pale, his eyes filled with fear and disbelief. As the white light, which had enveloped the world, dissipated, and the elder's horrified voice echoed, one of the colossal statues, standing like a mountain, saw a dark green shadow step out from the whirlpool in its forehead. With its appearance, a thunderous dragon's roar resounded across the sky, and the green shadow transformed into a massive azure dragon. At the same time, an elder dressed in green appeared from within the dragon's body and shot towards Wang Lin like a green streak, his speed surpassing even lightning. The moment was perfectly timed as the white tiger's light faded, and before anyone could react, the green-clad elder was almost upon Wang Lin. He raised his right hand, his index finger extended, his face calm but carrying an aura of death, aiming directly at Wang Lin's forehead. As the elder moved, the enormous azure dragon behind him twisted and accelerated, merging into his body, and then into the extended finger, speeding towards Wang Lin. From a distance, this scene appeared almost like a painting, the green-clad elder's finger glowing with azure light, and the endless figure of the azure dragon behind him leaving a trail of marks in the air. As he neared, it was as if the elder vanished, completely transforming into a dragon charging straight for Wang Lin's forehead. The entire sequence unfolded so rapidly that within a split second, the elder was within 3 feet of Wang Lin. At the same time, from another statue, a black-clad elder emerged from the whirlpool in the forehead of the statue. As the elder stepped out, the sky darkened, and an enormous black tortoise materialized with a fierce roar, sending shockwaves through the air. The black-clad elder was just as fast as the green-clad one, and from another direction, he charged towards Wang Lin. His speed was as fast as lightning, and his punch struck with unrelenting force. Behind the black-clad elder, the black tortoise's shadow twisted and merged into his body. The elder's punch was instantly covered in countless sharp spikes, aiming directly at Wang Lin. The Azure Dragon General and Black Tortoise General, 2 of the 4 war generals, had coordinated their strike with such precision that it was almost as though they had rehearsed it. With their surprise attack in full motion, the White Tiger General wiped the blood from his lips, his body shifting as he rushed out. Though no white tiger shadow appeared behind him, his right hand was wielding the heaven-splitting blade. With both hands gripping the weapon, he leapt into the air, letting out a low growl as he swung the blade violently towards Wang Lin below. Only the Vermilion Bird General did not make an appearance, seemingly believing that the combined power of the other 3 would be enough to annihilate Wang Lin. In the blink of an eye, the Azure Dragon General neared. Wang Lin's eyes flashed, and a sensation of imminent death engulfed him. Unlike others who might panic or feel discomfort at such a sensation, Wang Lin had long been accustomed to life-threatening situations. The more intense the feeling, the calmer he became. In his mind, he didn't even consider the 3 weakened immortals to be a serious threat. Even if all 3 attacked at once, so what? With a long laugh, Wang Lin raised his right hand and extended his index finger, aiming it at the Azure Dragon General's dragon-like finger. As he did so, The twisted Tao ancient head in the sky appeared instantly, merging with his finger. Simultaneously, the ancient god star mark on Wang Lin's forehead and the ancient demon and fiend star marks in his right eye flickered and spun, transforming into the power of the three ancient clans. This force surged into his right index finger, channeling Wang Lin's most powerful self-created divine art, the ancient clan indestructible finger. This strike was capable of breaking even the seven colors immortal venerable seal. How could it fear a mere remnant of an immortal? As his finger moved, the heavens and earth changed color, and the winds and clouds twisted. The Azure Dragon General's expression changed drastically. His finger collided with Wang Lin's indestructible finger in the next heartbeat. A thunderous roar erupted at that moment, shaking the very soul. Upon contact, the Azure Dragon General spat blood, and the endless dragon shadow behind him trembled and collapsed. As the dragon disintegrated, the Azure Dragon General staggered backward, retreating more than 100 feet before finally coming to a halt, his eyes wide with shock. The ancient clan indestructible finger, imbued with Wang Lin's Tao ancient power, did not shatter entirely, but continuously recovered through the destruction. Although the Azure Dragon General's strike was powerful, it had only caused Wang Lin's finger to break a few hundred times, far from enough to shatter the immortal venerable seal. Hundreds of times of destruction, unable to shatter Wang Lin's indestructible finger. In the end, the only one who could be defeated was the Azure Dragon General. However, Wang Lin's body wasn't without its toll. Only his finger was indestructible, not his entire body. In the collision with the Azure Dragon General, blood trickled from the corner of Wang Lin's mouth, and a violent rumble echoed within him. His organs seemed to twist together, sending waves of intense pain throughout his body. But he forcefully suppressed this excruciating agony. His eyes flickered with murderous intent. After pushing back the Azure Dragon General, Wang Lin suddenly turned, and the golden blood from his immortal, indestructible body in the center of his brow erupted instantly, releasing a blinding golden light that struck fear into the hearts of the four great generals. This golden light was blinding and contained an extraordinarily pure immortal bloodline power. The Black Tortoise General, who had ambushed him and was the closest to Wang Lin, was entirely enveloped by this golden light. As the light swept over him, his body seemed to be on the verge of turning to vapor. Countless black gases burst from him, and chilling screams and terrified shouts echoed out in madness. The golden blood from Wang Lin's brow flew out and rushed toward the Black Tortoise. It pierced through the incoming punch, and, as it passed through, the Black Tortoise General's Black Tortoise Phantom collapsed with a thunderous roar of agony. The Black Tortoise General spat blood, quickly retreating. His body was surrounded by swirling black mist, and his right fist was a mangled mess of blood and flesh. As he withdrew, terror filled his eyes. Immortal bloodline, you actually have an immortal bloodline. This is impossible. The purity of this bloodline power. This is the immortal, indestructible body. As he retreated, the golden blood flew back and merged once more into Wang Lin's brow. One finger forced back the Azure Dragon. One blood injured the Black Tortoise, but the crisis wasn't over. From above, the White Tiger General, injured and holding the heaven-opening sword, was descending upon him. The sword's blade was blinding, accompanied by a sharp whistle. Just as it was about to land, Wang Lin suddenly raised his head, suppressing the turbulent blood energy within his body. He lifted his right hand and pressed it toward the descending heaven-opening sword. With this palm strike, a storm of 9-colored flames erupted, followed by a thunderous roar as lightning struck from the 8 directions of heaven and earth. The flames transformed into a fiery palm seal, rushing directly at the White Tiger General's sword. The thunderous energy condensed, forming another palm seal covered in crackling lightning, closely following the fiery palm. It didn't end there. After the thunder palm, the origin of cause and effect coalesced into a mass of chaotic energy, forming the third palm seal. The origin of life and death arrived, the black and white energies swirling together, creating the fourth palm seal. The origin of truth and falsehood appeared, shifting between illusion and substance, causing the fifth palm seal to form in an instant. Finally, a terrifying slaughter aura erupted from Wang Lin's body, forming the sixth palm seal. The six palm seals linked together like afterimages, racing toward the White Tiger General's heaven-opening sword amidst the howling winds. Boom, boom. The sound shook the very earth, creating a storm of booming energy. In the midst of this storm, the heaven-opening sword in the White Tiger General's hand trembled violently before shattering completely. After the collapse, the six palm seals landed squarely on the White Tiger General's chest. With a scream, the White Tiger General erupted in a massive blood mist. Waves of immortal power poured out, and his body was thrown backward. The Azure Dragon and Black Tortoise Generals quickly stepped forward to support the heavily wounded White Tiger General. "Help me tear open the healing seal. Release the origin. I will kill him." The White Tiger General growled, his face pale, but his eyes radiating with even more intense murderous intent. He shoved aside the Azure Dragon and Black Tortoise and began to roar frantically, his disheveled white hair flying in all directions. As he roared, his aura skyrocketed. A golden symbol appeared at his brow. "Azure Dragon, Black Tortoise, help me break the seal. If it weren't for us needing to recover our cultivation, we wouldn't have been driven back by this ant. I will kill him. What qualifications does he have to push back us immortals? He's just a lower realm ant." Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged, though he was also wounded. The combined attack from the three of them had taken its toll on him. Even with his vast array of abilities, he could hardly endure it. Had it not been for his multiple means, that one blow would have severely wounded him, if not killed him. Seeing the White Tiger's madness, Wang Lin raised his left hand. A burst of golden light shot from his palm, and beneath this light, a bow appeared, exuding an aura of endless desolation. With his left hand on the bow and his right hand pulling back the string, Wang Lin suddenly drew the string. A soft hum echoed as he fully stretched the bow. Slowly, an ancient arrow materialized on the bowstring. As the string vibrated, a sudden silence fell. The White Tiger General stopped his roar and ceased trying to break the seal. Instead, he stood frozen, staring at Wang Lin's bow with a pale face, his eyes widening in unmistakable fear. The Azure Dragon General froze for a moment, instinctively stepping back, his eyes filled with a fear he had never experienced before. Li Guang's bow. The Black Tortoise General was equally stunned. The dark aura surrounding him had just been suppressed, and although his complexion was a little pale, upon seeing the bow, his face turned as white as a ghost. "Senior Wang Lin, please don't be angry. For the sake of our old friendship, why don't we talk?" In the silence, a red-robed figure stepped out from the swirling vortex in the center of the fourth and final statue. His expression was slightly awkward as he cupped his hands toward Wang Lin. However, the other party had been so aggressive earlier and refused to meet with him, which had led to the earlier confrontation. Now, seeing the vermilion bird appear, Wang Lin's eyes flashed. Slowly, he lowered his right hand, and the bow and arrow transformed into a burst of golden light, dissipating into his palms. Although the bow had disappeared, if Wang Lin wished, it could reappear in an instant. He wasn't worried about the four great generals launching another sneak attack. He cupped his hands toward the vermilion bird, who had just appeared, and calmly observed him. This vermilion bird was also an elderly figure, his appearance remarkably similar to the one from the Fall of the Abyss. "No need for formalities, Senior. I am Wang Lin, and it's an honor to meet the first-generation vermilion bird." Wang Lin spoke slowly, his expression calm. The red-robed vermilion bird elder's eyes showed a complex expression as he gazed at Wang Lin, falling into silence. "I don't understand, Senior. What connection do you have with the Fall of the Abyss?" Wang Lin asked with a composed voice. "The Fall of the Abyss is my true body. During the great battle back then, I was the only one among the four generals who left my true body outside. What you see now is merely a split projection of mine. But time has passed so long that there's no distinction between my true body and the projection. You can view them both as me, or perhaps as two different versions of myself." The vermilion bird elder sighed and shook his head. "I have almost no control over my true body anymore. I can only sense its thoughts and know what happens to it, but I cannot change its intentions or desires. It's tired. It wants to return home, but I am searching for the immortal venerable. Why does Li Guang's bow rest in your hands? The white tiger elder's eyes glimmered with deep wariness as he suddenly spoke. This is a personal matter. You need not concern yourself with it. Wang Lin replied coldly, glaring at the white tiger general before his gaze returned to the vermilion bird. The white tiger general's face twitched, but he said nothing further. I can choose not to press the matter of the fall of the abyss, but I have come here today to make a trade with Senior Vermilion Bird, Wang Lin said, his voice steady and deliberate. The ancient immortal domain, or perhaps the core of the Seven Colors Immortal Venerable's cave mansion. It is where many of the severely injured disciples of the Seven Paths sect remain. They claim to be immortals, cultivators from the ancient immortal domain. If I were to sacrifice everything, Senior Vermilion Bird, how confident are you that I could wipe them all out while they are healing? To turn the ancient immortal domain into a dead zone. Wang Lin's words were calm, without a trace of murderous intent or coldness, but the four great generals couldn't help but furrow their brows. If it were Wang Lin before he had drawn Li Guang's bow, the four would have dismissed such words. But seeing the bow and arrow in Wang Lin's hands, there was now an invisible pressure surrounding their minds. Li Guang's bow is a renowned artifact of the immortal firmament continent, one of great power. Such a bow is no easy tool to wield. Even if you don't know where you obtained the blood of an immortal's indestructible body and used it to draw the bow, each arrow you fire will consume that blood. You are not an immortal. You cannot replenish the power of the blood. How many arrows can you fire under such circumstances? The Azure Dragon General spoke, his gaze fixed on Wang Lin, his eyes sharp. To destroy this place, 3 arrows will suffice. Even if behind you stand many statues of the ancient 3 clans, even if there is a strange temple in the deepest part. If I'm not mistaken, that temple is the exit from this cave mansion. It should be sealed shut, impossible for anyone to open, and is likely the place where the strongest beings of the ancient immortal domain dwell. Wang Lin spoke slowly. I can do it, and you all understand. Wang Lin's gaze swept over the 4 great generals and then looked off into the distance. As soon as he entered the ancient immortal domain, his divine sense not only detected the presence of the 4 great generals, but also faintly sensed a strange temple deep within the domain, where an incredibly strong aura emanated from. What trade? The Black Tortoise General, who had remained silent until now, hoarsely spoke after a long pause. I don't care if everything here belongs to the cave mansion, nor do I care what plans you have. All I know is that I was born within the inner realm. Right now, the invasion of the ancient stars from the outer realm is vast, and the power of the inner realm is insufficient to resist it. Even if I had the Li Guang bow, I couldn't slaughter all the cultivators from the outer realm with my own strength. Wang Lin's eyes flashed as he spoke calmly. There is also an ancient immortal domain outside the realm. Some members of the Seven Paths sect are there, and they obey the immortal consort. Their injuries from back then weren't serious. The reason they haven't made large-scale appearances in recent years is that although the ancient immortal domain has split into 2 parts, there is still a deep connection between them. If we open the gate to the ancient immortal domain and step out, they will do the same. At that point, the war between the inner and outer realms will intensify. It's even possible that this cave mansion could be destroyed. Zhuke remained silent for a moment before speaking softly. The ancient immortal domain of the outer realm. They won't be able to come out. Wang Lin swung his sleeve and coldly spoke. Upon hearing this, the 4 great generals immediately focused their eyes and looked at Wang Lin. Previously, someone from the inner realm called upon us to resist the outer realm's invasion. We sent out an immortal artifact for them to integrate into the grand formation of the realm. This formation can resist for 100 years, giving us the last chance to heal. Its power is limited, but without someone from the immortal firmament continent intervening, it will be hard for the power of the inner realm cultivators to open it. I don't know if they succeeded, but it's been more than 90 years, and there are only 3 years left. These 3 years are the most crucial time for our healing. Once these 3 years pass, our injuries will be fully healed. The Azure Dragon General immediately spoke up. According to their thoughts, even if Wang Lin had not proposed this deal, they would still step out after 3 years, fighting their former sect members from the outer realm's ancient immortal domain, searching for the immortal venerable. However, in their eyes, the The cultivators of the inner realm were nothing more than ants. Even if they stepped out, they wouldn't care about the war between the inner and outer realms. As for how many beings would die, they didn't care. As long as they found the immortal venerable and his cultivation recovered, they could destroy all life and open the path of heaven to begin repopulating. After a few thousand years, everything would return to normal. But now, Wang Lin had found them, using his strong tactics, threatening to destroy the ancient immortal domain of the outer realm and kill them while they were healing. This made the four generals pause and seriously consider the deal. 3 years. I will buy you 3 years. During this time, no one will come here to disturb your healing. Wang Lin spoke slowly, each word measured. The four great generals remained silent. Wang Lin promised to destroy the ancient immortal domain of the outer realm and protect them for 3 years. But the more he said, the more ambitious his plans seemed. The four generals couldn't figure out his exact intentions. What do you want in return for this deal? Zhuge looked at Wang Lin and asked in a low voice. I want the death of nearly all the cultivators from the outer realm. I want no one to die after you all step out from the inner realm. I want you all to promise that once you find your 7-colored immortal venerable, you will allow me to take all the beings from the inner realm and give them freedom. Let them leave this cave mansion and see the real sky. My last request, after everything ends, I want to go to the immortal firmament continent. There, you must provide me with the resources I need. Wang Lin said as he raised his right hand and pressed it to his forehead. Instantly, a sliver of his divine sense split off and gathered in his hand, transforming into wisps of smoke like willow catkins floating in the air. Agree, and send your divine sense to make a vow. If you break your word, the Tao will dissipate and you will be scattered. If you don't agree, I will take out the Li Guang Bao and destroy the ancient immortal domain of the outer realm. Wang Lin's words were firm, leaving no room for hesitation. The four generals were silent, exchanging glances and hesitating. Wang Lin's requests were difficult to decide on immediately, especially the third and fourth ones, which put them in a difficult position. I'll give you 1 day to decide. Wang Lin turned and took a step backward. He sat cross-legged on the shattered ground, 1,000 feet away, and closed his eyes. He didn't care about their final decision. In reality, Wang Lin had another goal. This goal was his true intention. He wanted these people from the Seven Paths sect to step out. He was buying them 3 years not only to resolve the war between the inner and outer realms, but also to allow them to search for the ancient immortal venerable. Wang Lin had many guesses about this mysterious immortal venerable, but without solid evidence, he couldn't be sure of the relationship between the 7-colored Taoist from the 7-colored realm and the immortal venerable. Then there was the identity of the war ghost. It was a puzzle that pointed directly to the ancient immortal venerable. Looking at all the clues, the war between the inner and outer realms seems to have many signs. The immortal consort and others centered in the outer realm, and the group led by the sealing venerable and others living in the inner realm. The 7-colored Taoist is obviously the leader of the outer realm, while the war ghost. He was originally from the inner realm. Over the years, their repeated wars seem to be proving something, as if they are searching for something. But to search, they have to use some very special methods, and that's how these wars have come about. If my guess is correct, and things are indeed like this, then what exactly are they searching for? The way of heaven? Wang Lin pondered. Perhaps, after these 4 great generals and the members of the 7 Paths sect leave here, everything will be completely unveiled. Everything is already chaotic, so let it become even more chaotic. In this chaos, perhaps I can achieve that goal,